Hello, my name is Zach Goldstein from Thanx, and welcome to the Road to Revenue webinar series. Today's topic, growing your revenue without an army of marketers. We found that this is a challenging problem for most mid-size restaurants and retailers who have struggled to focus on marketing that works and drives revenue without hiring a massive team and incurring that cost. So today we're featuring a fantastic brand from the Pacific Northwest in Elephan's Deli, who has been able to do just that by focusing on building deep, personalized relationships with their customers that create long-term loyalty and get those customers coming back more and spending more money and having great experience. A quick intro before I introduce our guest. Personalizing every customer interaction feels far off. It feels like the type of thing that Starbucks and Panera can do, but others can't. Smaller restaurants are resource constrained. But on the flip side, consumers have come to expect experiences that are tailored to the individual, particularly the millennial audience. And so these challenges are being solved in interesting ways. And with us today is Cheyenne from Elephan's Deli. And Cheyenne, I would love you to give an introduction to Elephan's Deli and to yourself as well. And then we'll walk through a little bit of data about the scale of the problem and then learn more about what you're doing at Elephan's to fix it. Welcome, Cheyenne.
Thank you, Zach. My name is Cheyenne Terbruggen, and I'm the Marketing Communications Manager at Elephan's Delicatessen. I've been in the field of marketing and communications for about, over 20 years now, and 10 of them in the retail, specialty foods, and fast casual space. Elephan's Delicatessen, as Zach mentioned, is operated out of Portland, Oregon. We have 7 retail locations. Elephan's Catering and Events, our catering division, is the largest catering company in the state of Oregon, and we have also a pretty thriving wholesale department that delivers our Elephan's Delicatessen soups and casseroles nationwide through Williams-Sonoma. And we have extremely loyal customers. This topic hits us squarely in what matters, what is the most important thing to us. We've been around since 1979, and so we're celebrating 40 years this year, and we actually do have customers who've been dining with us for 40 years. And as Zach mentioned, we have a fairly small marketing department. I am the marketing director, and I have a team of 2 other people, so we're a marketing team of 3 people.
Wonderful. A small, scrappy, and incredibly productive marketing team of 3 people.
Yeah.
I would say. We'll talk more about that. So congrats on everything that you're doing. So I'll walk through some data here so that we kind of set expectations about the scale of this challenge and then go deeply into Cheyenne's experiences. You know, consumers have a lot of choice these days. They're overwhelmed with delivery options from restaurants. They're overwhelmed with reviews, online ordering. They're overwhelmed with things that they can do that are not restaurants, getting food delivered to their home. And so the list goes on and on of how consumers are making decisions has become more complicated. And what this data shows is that the result is consumers are often struggling with that decision and sometimes not returning. The 40% number on the left says only 40% of people that make a first purchase come back within a month. And of course, as you go many, many more months into the future after that first purchase, the repeat purchase rate goes down. This is a fundamental challenge that most restaurants are facing and not one that's right in front of their eyes. And so a lot of energy is being spent on how do I get new customers, but everyone's spending energy on new customers. And if you're a great brand, focus on the ones you have. If you could get these people coming back more than 15% 1 year later, that's real revenue. In fact, it's such a large amount of revenue because 1/4 of customers drive 62% of revenue for restaurants in the US. And so it's mission critical to understand who are those individuals and how do you build relationships with them. Furthermore, the probability of selling into a new prospect is a lot lower than the likelihood of being able to retain or get an incremental visit out of an existing customer. Anywhere between 3 and 7x more cost effective to get an incremental visit from an existing customer. And so Thanx is a solution that is the revenue generation machine for engaging with, retaining, and ultimately measuring the success of your marketing for existing customers. Because we know that a lot of businesses are doing this. They have email, they have reservations, they have loyalty or coupons, they have social media, they have data in their point of sale, they're doing third-party delivery. But none of that resolves to a single view of the customer. And more importantly, it's really hard for marketers to understand what's driving revenue and what's not. Thanx delivers customer knowledge, satisfaction and feedback, targeted marketing campaigns, and loyalty rewards in a single platform, and everything drives to demonstrable revenue. And so I'll show you some of what this means, but I want to pause and talk a little bit to you, Cheyenne, about the challenges you're facing, right? The topic of this session is how to engage and retain high-value customers to drive results measured in real revenue. You can't have a whole big marketing team, and you don't in order to do that. And so before we jump in, let's talk about some of the challenges that you're seeing industry-wide, not necessarily specific to Elephants. And you can certainly talk about third-party delivery, which a lot of people are struggling with, but I'm certain that there are others as well that you see your restaurant peers facing. Well, let's get those out there.
Well, I mean, as you mentioned, just choices in general, and I would say, especially being here in Portland, Oregon, it's known as a dining city for a reason, and we have new restaurants opening every week here. And, you know, we've been doing what we've been doing for 40 years, and when we started doing it, we were the only place you could get a lot of the foods that we offered and the kind of experience that we offered. You know, but now customers have a lot of choices when it comes to dining out, when it comes to ordering in. And for us, staying alive for 4 decades in this city, I guess our biggest challenge is that we're not a fine dining once a month kind of place. People eat at Elephan's Delicatessen every day, sometimes more than once a day. You know, our average ticket size across our 7 locations, it ranges from 7 at some of our grab-and-go locations to $25 maybe at our more full-service locations. But we need those daily customers. It's the lifeblood of our business. And so if customers start even, you know, if they start coming once or twice a week when they used to come 5 days a week, that's a huge problem for us. So
right.
Our major challenge is to retain the customers that we've had over the decades. And then we're a city where people are moving here. I mean, it's one of the fastest growing cities that it has been for a while. So we have a lot of people moving here from all over the country, a lot of younger people. So yeah, we need to retain those customers that have helped make us who we are and have, you know, kept us here, kept us successful for 40 years. And we have a lot of new customers, and they, especially the younger customers, have a lot of different expectations, I guess. They have different expectations about convenience, certainly. So yeah, we try to find that sweet spot between, I think a lot of restaurants struggle with this. They choose convenience. We're a fast grab-and-go place, or they choose experience, and we choose both, which is
right. So what are some of the things
that mix is tough.
Sorry, I was.
Oh no, go ahead.
About all the ways that you uniquely brand Elephan's Deli, Elephan's Delicatessen in the community of Portland, in the ways you engage with your customers, and so what are some of the big things that are differentiated that are unique about what you've done?
Service is number one. And again, we call it hospitality. We call it extreme hospitality. But we just had Elephants University yesterday, and every new employee attends Elephants University. We have over 400 employees in the Portland metro area. But every employee attends Elephants University, and we talk a lot about what extreme hospitality is. And, we sell thousands of turkey sandwiches, and so does 100 other places here in Portland, Oregon. So is our turkey sandwich better than anyone else's turkey sandwich? I like our turkey sandwich, but certainly plenty of people sell them. But the experience at Elephants is different. We want it to, we hire just insanely friendly people who make emotional connections with our customers. And I think that's really, for us, where it's at. We let all of our employees know that person's first visit, that might be a new regular. So every single transaction is as important to us as every other one.
Yeah. What about
you're talking to someone who's a regular 1 minute, and they become a regular because you've anticipated their needs. You know their name, you know their kids, you know which sports teams they're rooting for. You're making those sorts of connections with people, and the person behind them in line could be that next regular, and maybe someone who's never visited Elephants, and we want that first experience to be amazing. And our stores are beautiful; they're real multi-sensory sort of experiences. I mean, they're just gorgeous inside, and it smells good, and we're doing demos, and you're tasting food, and we want it to be, even if you're just grabbing a sandwich to go, it's an authentic kind of Portland experience that you really can't get anywhere else. You're not going to get it at the grocery store, even though you could get a turkey sandwich to go there, and it's, you're getting it at a price point that's comfortable for you. You're not sitting down at a fine dining location, but you're still getting a lot of that experience. And, that all comes from the people that we hire. It's all about our employees, and it's all about hospitality for us.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And for anyone that's been to an Elephant's Delicatessen, that's absolutely true. When you think about marketing and engaging with customers when they're not at the restaurant, what historically have you done? Whether it worked or not, let's talk about the breadth of what you've done from a marketing standpoint. Some of the things that did click, some of the things that didn't, and we'll hold out on your use of Thanx for now. We can come back to that later, but let's talk more broadly than that.
Well, I mean, when I look at my marketing budget, Elephant still engages in some traditional marketing. We still do radio, we still do print. But we actually we're a word of mouth business. So again, it's people saying, I love Elephants. I'm from Portland, and as soon as I go back home, Elephants is the first place I go. So what I have switched over more of my budget to is doing more experiential marketing and doing marketing that's more engaging. We just did a contest to give away free soup for a year. We're known for our soups. Our tomato orange soup specifically is like a must-eat dish when you're in Portland, Oregon. And we gave away free soup for a year to 3 people in Portland. And we worked with, our weekly magazine and a lot of different Travel Portland and a lot of different people to get the word out. And actually it didn't, those sorts of things where people share, I guess, the kind of shareable viral marketing, it doesn't cost me a lot in terms of dollars. It's more time spent engaging with customers, which I love, but that was super, super successful for us in every way, meaning it increased traffic, it increased word of mouth. People were talking about it on all of our social media channels. So those sorts of activities, Free Lunch Friday, every Friday we give away lunch for 2, and we theme it like nominate a coworker you'd like to treat to lunch because they're doing a great job. And people really like to participate in things that make them feel good and that make other people feel good. So, and again, that's part of our brand. When people see my Elephants logo on my jacket or something, they'll high five me, even like strangers at the bank, and they say, I love Elephants. So there's that feeling about Elephants that it's a Portland thing and it's a thing that makes people feel good. And as much as I can engage people with that, I do. So while I'll still do print ads and things like that, marketing efforts where I can actually engage with people, things people want to share with their friends, places where people want to tag their friend and nominate them for a free lunch. it costs me very little really to treat a few people to a free lunch with a friend, but the amount of engagement I get from it is really, really high. And giving people,
So it's really hard.
People love the opportunity to say nice things about other people. They like to talk about what their favorite things are. So yeah, engaging people in conversations that, they're still about us and about our brand, but it's about the place where we fit into their life, which is like, hey, why don't you take a break from the office and come and have lunch? That kind of message people are really responsive to.
It can be really hard for a small marketing team sometimes to justify to whoever you report into, the CEO, the board, etc.
My CEO.
Doing things like that, right? Doing things that are big and bold, like Free Lunch Fridays. And it's hard to directly measure the revenue created from that. But you certainly feel the goodwill that's palpable. How have you gone about thinking about that?
Well, you know what? I can actually, and again, for me, it's about engagement. So I can do a digital ad on Google, or I can run a digital ad on Facebook. I can run a digital ad on Instagram, and I can get a lot of impressions, a lot of eyeballs on it. But it's those engagement numbers that I'm looking at. So I consider something successful when I have people engaged. So when I have thousands of people having a conversation about which of our soups they like the most, I can actually see it, on social media if if I've taken the time to listen and look at it, and they're making lunch dates with people. So when I share those sorts of numbers, I think those have impact. It is. I do look. I sit with our CEO and I sit with our executive team, and I look every single month, and I look at customer counts for every location, and I look at the average checks, and so I know, are we up 5 people? Are we down 50 people? So every single month we look, and I have an idea of who's up, who's down, who could use some marketing support. So I do a lot of location-based marketing too, just to kind of like, that location needs something. And I won't get into Thanx, but that might be also an opportunity for me to go, hey, it looks like breakfast is our brunch hour. Our brunch business is dropping at this location. Maybe I should create a Thanx offer to try to move some of that business to the brunch hours. So I like to be able to use my money in a very targeted way. So we don't do a lot of just general, look at us, we're Elephants brand marketing. It's usually very specific. It's engaging people in a specific conversation about something. It is engaging people in a specific location about something. All of our customers are very different at each location. They're in different parts of the city. They spend different amounts of money. They're maybe students at one building, at another one they're executives. It's really different. So I like to do really targeted, with the money that I have, I do very targeted campaigns towards those customers.
So that's a good intro, and I'll spend a minute, giving the overview of Thanx, because, what we talk about is building an owned audience of your best customers, right? It ensures that these are not deal seekers who come to you once and never come back. They are people that you have their ear, if you will. And you can talk to them, and you can engage with them personally, and you can know who they are. And so what we've done is actually identify these people. They are humans. They've signed up for your reward program. They have a preferred location. They do the same thing every week in some cases. They come in for that turkey sandwich multiple times a week. Or in other cases, they like to do something different every time. Sometimes they're picking up food for lunch. Sometimes it's a full meal for the family. That knowledge of a customer deeply helps you understand how to engage with them. In the Thanx platform, and I'd love you to share how you use this, we have specific information about feedback. And so it's private channel feedback for a customer to identify how was that experience they had. And because they're an individual, you can talk to them personally. Targeted campaigns that enable you to both send a message to everyone with one click when you want to announce some news, or send a highly targeted message to just a group. You mentioned driving lunch traffic to a certain location, for instance, or any number of other specific targeted messages can be done very easily. And finally, actually measuring customer spending. Does the challenge with marketing historically has been, does an open of an email really mean that the person came in and made a purchase? No, it doesn't, unfortunately. You want to be able to know that when that person got that promotion, did they go in and make an incremental purchase? And so the last thing that I'll leave you with, and then we can talk more about how Elephants you do this, is a detailed annual performance review that can show very clearly what revenue is coming from the program. And this, we talk about when you take a small marketing team and arm them with the tools they need to look like they have an army of marketers. This is one of the things. Give them a report that shows the ROI that they can bring to the boss and prove that it's working. So as you think about this engaging with your owned customers in your loyalty program, as you think about targeted, segmented campaigns, talk about how you've used that and perhaps some of the results that you might be willing to share about how effective that is.
Yeah, well, the first thing I'll say about Thanx, having already said that for us, engaging customers is absolutely my number one. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I shared with them a definition of marketing that to me it seems like a very common sense one, but it's being considerate of your customers. Marketing is simply letting them know things that they should know and making it easy for them to share that information with their friends. So, I think of Thanx. One of the things I love the most about it, we get hundreds of pieces of feedback through Thanx every month. I think last month we got over 400 ratings, and 100 of them at least were written pieces of feedback. So it's a lot of feedback. We respond to every single person who reaches out to us. That customer who's reaching out to you to give you feedback is number one in my book. So Thanx has become a new channel for us to do that. And it actually now, Thanx is connected to somebody leaves a positive review. If they recommend us to a friend with Thanx, then Thanx automatically asks them if they'd like to share their review on Google or on Yelp. So it's actually also increased our reviews overall, particularly with happy customers, which most of ours thankfully are. But our unhappy customers can also let us know about something right away. They don't have to wait and go on Yelp 3 days later and say, I had a poor experience, I'm never going back there. Somebody can let us know immediately that they're having it in real time, basically.
And privately.
And privately. And I can contact the managers. My managers are notified at every location if a customer has anything to say, positive or negative, and we can fix it immediately. Like, you know what? If somebody's having a grouchy day and they shouldn't be on a register, I will figure that out within about 2 pieces of feedback and be on the phone with a manager, and we'll make a change if we need to make a change. Right. Maybe that person needs a day off. But to me, that is one of the daily things that I get from Thanx. As you mentioned, like one of our locations, brunch had really slid off, and so we just ran a campaign for 20% off, and we had thousands of dollars of incremental income just in the first weekend of brunch. And most of them were customers that did visit that location. They were Thanx customers for that location, but they didn't. I could look at the data on Thanx and know that they visited Monday through Friday, usually for lunch or maybe breakfast, but they weren't brunch customers. So it was nice.
It's nice to be able to do something like that without blasting your entire email list.
Yeah,
exactly. Hey, there's brunch. And to target, hey, we know that you're a weekday Elephant diehard, but we also know you haven't tried brunch, and so this is special for you. That's personalization.
Yeah, and then we had and then our staff could see, wow, it wasn't just that the customer counts were up; it was new. They were customers we know, but they were coming in and seeing us at a different time and learning, trying something else that we offer. Another way we used it just this summer, our flagship location is located in downtown Portland, and we have a lot of tourists who visit us as part of their, yay, we're in Portland, where should we go? And everyone says, you have to go to Elephants, and everyone goes to Elephants. And it felt to our manager like they were all tourists and our regulars were missing. So she actually said that to me, said, it feels like our regulars aren't, like I'm not seeing kind of the usual faces. Is there something we can do? So I was able to extend an offer just for that week, like 1 week only. It was like a 20% off offer, and it was hugely successful. And she was like, oh, there's our regulars. So we just had to just poke them a little bit, like, hey, do you remember us? And yeah, it's interesting. And I have the data to prove it. So it's not just that my store manager said, oh, I noticed that a lot of our frequent customers are back. I hadn't seen them in a couple of weeks. The data shows me that too. So, but it's interesting because the data matches up with what the experience is with the employees in the store. So I love it when that happens. It's just kind of I guess I like that about Thanx. It quantifies things that I already suspected. So,
right.
like, I'll be like, like I suspect this is the case, and then the data will support that. So we know that our regular daily customers are the lifeblood of our business, and we know that they spend more than other customers. And we are pretty sure of those things, and then it's really nice to have the actual data to back that up.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions we have here, thank you, Mark Lawrence, for asking. One of the questions we have here is around how many customers are quote unquote discount shoppers that are going from coupon to coupon. And it sounds like one of the things that you use Thanx for is to understand who your repeat customers are and kind of spend more of your energy against them. Instead of the what I often call promiscuous customers who are just looking for a one-time deal and then moving on to the next thing. Talk about how you think about focusing your efforts on the customers who you have a relationship with and maybe spending less energy against the deal-seeking one-time people.
Well, I would say probably, I mean, again, we all know it costs a lot more to get a new customer just to keep the ones you have. Thanx actually allows me to segment. I mean, for us, an investment in Thanx is an investment in those customers. And there are actually ways that I can segment my audience per location, and kind of like I can put out an offer and I can test it. I can create a control group, first of all. I can even remove people that have recently redeemed a coupon. Which is an interesting way to test it too. So I usually when I run offers, and again I don't have to run that many. The majority of offers we have on there, the really, really successful ones, like whenever somebody like recommends us to somebody else, they get a cookie, and we're really known for cookies, and that person gets a cookie. The cost of a cookie to us is very small. But our customers just love them, and they'll recommend us for a cookie. I do target offers though for those customers that, again, that they haven't been using the coupons, they haven't been doing anything. So we do have those customers that they visit, and then they disappear. And Thanx is really good at identifying who those folks are, and I mean, we've probably gotten about, I think the numbers are on 25,000 in incremental revenue just from winning back those customers.
Yeah, we call it win back, and we find, that data I showed right off the top, even the best restaurants with great customer relationships see that kind of declining visit frequency over time. It's not because people necessarily had a bad experience. It's often because, out of sight, out of mind. They're distracted by all the other places they can go. And so getting that personalized "we miss you" at the right time helps people feel like, actually, I do miss going to Elephan. I'm going there today. And
I've been really surprised.
To be able to measure exactly how much they come back.
Because people can disappear for a good, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And so, I'm always really surprised to see how effective win-back programs are. And again, those aren't people that, it's not like they're coming in every month to use a monthly coupon. It's, I'm reaching out to them after a long time, asking them to come back
Right.
in. Yeah, and we try to be smart with our offers through Thanx. And you know what? I feel like the people on there, I meet every single month with our store managers, and we look at their Thanx. We look at their store, and we look at who their VIPs are, who their big, who's spending the most, who's dissatisfied, who are the people that are recommending you the most. And I can stand here with a manager and look at the back end and look at the data, and they know the customers. They say, oh, that's Joel. Oh no, like what happened with this customer? So it's a really interesting activity, but we do sit and we look. We look at who's disappeared. So we can look at all of this data. And a lot of people actually will attach photos and stuff to their Thanx account. And even without that, my managers know who they are. So it's a really good activity, I think, just to sit and talk about who your customers are and what they're doing, what they're spending money on, when are they visiting, when are they not visiting, is breakfast traffic up or down? Would you like to see breakfast traffic up, or would you like to move? Would you like to try to, I don't know, have more sales between 2 and 5 o'clock when we're slow? So I sit with our managers. We make those decisions individually by store, and those offers individually.
It seems like having, going back to the theme of our topic here, growing revenue without an army of marketers, it seems like having data about your top customers, or even your average customers, but having data about people who know your brand and being able to then take action on that and drive a behavior that comes from you or perhaps is recommended by the manager, like that's a big element of this secret sauce in driving revenue without tons of marketers. It's you got to have the information at your fingertips, and once you do, it's pretty easy at that point.
Well, once you do, you also have to share it. I would say that's really important.
Right.
I gather every piece of written feedback every single month and compile it by location and send it to our entire staff. And what's great about meeting with the managers is that they understand the value of those customers that are coming every day, that are recommending us, those VIP customers, those high value customers, and they're talking to their staff about it. And when I share all the feedback I receive, that reinforces that. So in my mind, I try to consider all of our employees an extension of our marketing team. That's sort of the idea. So when you only have 3 people, but you have hundreds of employees, every single person, when you think of marketing as being considerate, and being considerate, being hospitable, letting customers know what's new, what's great, helping them share that with other people. Every single person at our company is responsible for that. So, I love the data I get from Thanx because it convinces managers and it also convinces employees. So they're getting that information too.
What a great final thought. I appreciate that. The idea that marketing is about being considerate to customers, and the idea that you may not have an army of people whose title has the word marketing in it at your restaurant, but you can turn everyone into a marketer if you take that approach.
Ambassadors.
And then you do have an army. So that's fantastic, Cheyenne. I'll let you leave any final thoughts, but this has been great. I appreciate you taking the time. Congrats on everything that you are doing at Elephan and the continued growth of the brand.
Thank you.
And leave any final thoughts, and then we'll sign off. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. I was just going to say, it's really, I feel like it's really easy to feel overwhelmed, like you're lagging behind in competition, just because there's so many, especially in the digital space, everything moves so swiftly, and we don't have the time or the money or even the need to implement all of them in our business. So I think for anyone, and I've talked with a lot of people who market, companies around our size, and it does feel overwhelming, and things are changing. There's new thing, better, faster ways to deliver things and talk to your customers every single month. But you don't necessarily have a need for all of it. So I think what we did with Thanx was find a technology that we were looking for, a technology that could benefit our business and a technology that can help us quantify what we already knew, that our loyal customers were really valuable to us. And we're focused on implementing it effectively, being responsive, using that data, sharing that data, learning from that before we probably, who knows what other digital project is on the horizon for us. But this program has really helped us, I think, kind of level up on what we were doing and given us the data to show us that what we thought was working is working, and that maybe sometimes what we think is working isn't working. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
That's all.
Well, thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you for the time.
You're welcome.
We know that you don't have an army of marketers, so your time is valuable. So we'll let you get back to it. But it was a pleasure to chat with you, and I hope it was useful for everyone that joined. So have a wonderful Thursday, and a wonderful Thursday for all of you. Thanks, Cheyenne.
All right. Nice talking to you, Zach.
Bye.